Here we are again, folks, back with Dr. Rory Lobsher. Hey, Rory, good to see you, man. What's the story here about when should a person go to A&E and when should they go and see their GP?
Good question. It's one that we often get asked, and it's a lot of things that there's a lot of patients who don't quite get the difference. I usually say that the difference between us in A&M and your GP, it's kind of like the difference between, the AA and a motor mechanic. We're the AA. So we're there to deal with the emergencies and the bigger problems that need, one and done, basically. So cuts, bruises, broken bones, sports injuries, common colds, infections, things that can get taken care of pretty much in one consultation. Your GP is the motor mechanic. So if you've got more long-term things or things that are going to take a little bit of time to work out, that's where your GP comes in.
So that's what it's about. So we should spend more of our time with GPs because I believe that as you told us last time, your clinic's absolutely backlogged with people waiting for hours and hours.
Oh, true, but I think a lot of that is the same problem the GPs are having right now, is staff shortages and a complete overrun of the system in terms of winter illnesses, winter injuries. But beyond all of that, everybody needs to be registered with their own GP. Aside from the obvious reasons for attending a GP practice, you need to have one person who's pretty much in charge, or the central point, I guess, for everything that helps or everything that happens to you, in a medical context. So if you think about going to the hospital, if you're seen at ED, those notes will be transferred to your doctor. So somebody is keeping tabs on everything that's happened to you and can deal with things as they need to be done.
Well, that's true too, and I know that from my own circumstances. And the other factor is if you get to know a doctor personally, well, I mean, not personally, but professionally,
absolutely.
They can get to know sometimes your family background, you also the previous ailments that you've had, and a bit of your history, which is helpful for both parties, surely.
Oh, absolutely. It's probably one of the difficult things for me in A&M is most of your patients are episodic, so you don't know a thing about them, and it's strange to see how many patients come in when you ask them about their chronic medication that they've been on for decades or more, years or more, and they've got no clue, almost like they're taking no responsibility for their own health. And I've never really understood all of that one, but in some ways it's a bit of a problem, and others I can kind of understand why it happens, but you need your own GP. And one of the other things I commonly say is that, if you've got to get a watt for your car every single year, you should be doing it for yourself too. And that's, again, where your GP sits in, because there's so many health conditions out there, for example, hypertension and high blood pressure, that could be causing sort of catastrophic damage, and you don't know about it until it's too late. Those things need to be checked out.
That's something I think you and I ought to have a talk about. Why don't you come back next week and have a chat about that?
I think that's a good idea.
Hey, thanks, Dr. Rory. It's always comforting to know you're there. Cheers, man.
Thanks, Max. Keep well.